Hello, welcome to everyone joining us from year 2. This is our first music session that I've recorded. I am recording for you now. Okay, you're going to need a pencil and a piece of paper. And you're also, if you've got this, you could do with seeing if you could find a pot or a tub in your house. So just something that's been used, maybe. I've got a little one here that was used and it had some bath stuff in. I've got another one here, a little bit smaller. You can see I've got down here a tub. This is one we had at Christmas, which had sweets in. So something similar to this, a pot or a tub, or a few, if you've got some empty ones, something that's going to the recycling. See if you can just get hold of that. If you haven't got that for the time being, then don't worry. We can use your hands when we come to play some instruments. The other thing that might be useful are some spoons and a wooden spoon. So if you need to now, just pause the video and just go and have a little look for some tubs or some pots. Okay. Right, now I'm going to carry on with our music session. Now, let's see if you can remember these. We've got a big dot and a long line. Okay, now, do you remember what kind of sound I made when we saw the dot? It was a sound like this. This is my djembe African drum, and I made a sound like this. Let's have a look at the cymbal again. Okay. And then I had my long line. There's my long line. And here I've got some cymbals. Okay. And I'm going to make a sound like this. Can you still hear that? Still echoing a little bit. Okay. And now dying away. And now it's stopped. Okay. What about if I made a slightly different sound? Back to my African drum again. What about if I made a sound like this? Do you think that's a long sound or a short sound? What do you think? Or if I made a sound on my cymbals like this? They were both kind of long sounds, weren't they? And this is my cymbal for a long sound, but I've got another cymbal here, something else I've written down. I think a wavy, wiggly line might be better to show that sound, because if I get my drum here and I put my drum here, you see if you can follow the sound with your finger across this wiggly line. Ready? Okay. Now on your piece of paper, what I'd like you to do next, I'd like you to draw a round dot, a long line and a wiggly line that keeps going. stop the video for a moment and have a go at doing that. Okay, when you've done that, okay, what we're going to do next is you're going to have that piece of paper in front of you, and we're going to play. I'm going to play for you some sounds, and you've got to follow with your finger and see what sound it is. Okay, are you ready? I've got a maraca here. This is my first sound. What kind of sound was that? Did you point to the dot? Here's another sound on my maraca. Still going, still going. Do you think this sounded like this? Or you might have thought the long straight line might be better. Let's have a go at another one. Here's my cabasa. Here it is. Which one did you point to? Hopefully it was this one, the long jiggly line. Okay, now on my piece of paper, I've got those three sounds. Now, a really good game you could play is with those three symbols. And if you get a cereal packet that you finish with and you write those symbols on there on a whole piece of paper like this, you can either fold it a few times and then you should end up with, I'll show you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections. Okay, you can play quite a good game. Make some little cards with those symbols on and play with a friend. Well, play with a friend. You'd have to do it online if it was with a friend. Play with a brother or a sister, or maybe mum and dad if they finish work, and have a little go at making different sounds. You'll definitely need a pot or a tub, or you could put something inside the pot. If you look, I can show that to the screen just about. I'll show you on the hand. Hold it up to that. You can just see the pasta there. Okay, so I've put some pasta in that pot, so I can also use that pot as a shaker, and I can go if I want a nice short sound, or I can go with the pots and the tubs and the homemade drums and things like that. It's easier to do a continuous sound, one that goes than to do this sound. It's very easy to do a really long sound and it just sounds like one whole sound that dies away with cymbals. Crashing cymbals make it very easy. So you can hear that's just one sound, and now it's dying away. Okay, so have a go. I've done a little worksheet as well. There's not much on this worksheet, just done you a template. So if you wanted to print that off, that has 9 little sections. So what you can do is you can draw your long line, your dot and your wiggly line there as many times as you like, and then cut that out if you want to. Okay, we're going to come back to this little worksheet, little template, a little bit later. Okay, right, now, what I'd like you to do now, we're going to do some rhythms on our homemade instruments. Okay, right, let's have a look at our big tub. Okay, got my big sweetie tub here, and I've also got my djembe drum. Now, I'm not expecting you to have a djembe drum at home. I mean, it's unlikely you would, but you might do. You might do. We're going to have a little look at how to play this djembe drum. And I discovered, when I was finding out a bit more about African drums, that there are three main parts to this djembe drum. We have the bit at the top, which is usually a skin, made out of usually animal skin. We hit it like this. There's the bit on the side where the string is, and there's the bit at the bottom, which is where the wood is. Okay, so if I do that again, you can hear the difference. And then the side, and then the wood at the bottom. Okay, now I can then make a nice rhythm up. A rhythm's a musical pattern. So I could do something like this. Or I could do something like this. Now, obviously a tub that we've got that's had sweets in, or a pot like this, it isn't going to be quite the same. But if we get a pencil, or we get a spoon, I've got some metal spoons down here. You'll have these in your house. Metal spoon. You'll also have probably a wooden spoon. If I get a metal spoon and we try this out on the sweetie tub, can you see what we can do? Let's see if we can get a different note, we call it, a different sound when we hit the top of the sweetie tub and the side, like this. Now if I try hitting the top and the rim, which is this bit round the edge, let's see what happens now. Okay, and then of course if I have a smaller tub, I'm going to get a different sound altogether because I've got my big tub and my smaller tub. Okay, so let's watch this for a minute and listen. Okay, now I'm sure now you could have a play around if you find yourself some tubs. You could have a play around with different kinds of sounds. See if you can find something that will give you a nice short sound and something that will give you a long sound that's a continuous sound. You might find it a little bit harder to get a sound.
It's 16:30.
A long sound that just sounds like this, but we can try. You can try. Let's do this. So you might be able to think of something that will give you a long continuous sound. Perhaps you do have something in your house. Probably best to ask a grown-up about that one. So have a look now. You can pause the video now. Have a little play around with lots of different sounds and see what kind of sounds you can make. Okay, we'll pause the video. I'm going to carry on for a little bit longer on this video, so you can do it later if you want to, or you can pause it now and go and have a go. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so just to have another think about some of these sounds. Okay, now if I go back to my cymbals, you can tell Mrs Hazelton loves playing these cymbals. They are rather fun. You can hear that sound still going, and it's still going, and I can hear it's just dying away now. Okay. Now, if I decided I was going to do a different kind of sound and I was going to play one of these long sounds that keeps going, I might play my maraca. And here I am in my group at school, in your classroom, and I'm playing this very long sound that keeps going on and on and on, like a train going. And it keeps going, 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 and it keeps going. And all my friends say, Mrs Hazelton, you really need to get somebody else to have a go at playing an instrument now. You've been going on for rather a long time. So the question is, when you have your short sound or your long sound, like on a gong or like a triangle or a cymbal, or you have your sound that keeps going like this, like I was doing. I'm going to do it on my djembe drum now. The question is, how long is a long sound? It could be any length, couldn't it? As long as it doesn't sound like this, because that's definitely a short sound. It could be any length. So how do we know, when we're all playing instruments together, how are we going to be able to tell, or how are we going to be able to organise or say how long we hold the sound on for? Well, what about something like this? Okay, say if I've got a sound that keeps going and I'm going to use 2 spoons, because you can have a nice clicky clacky sound with 2 spoons. Okay, like this. Now, if I want to say how long that sound's going to be, how about if I count, or if my friend counts for me? What about if I say, here's my music. This is like a picture, what we call a picture score. In music, we call it a graphic score, because it's like a picture of what we're doing. And we put something like that at the top. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see if I can just put my drum on here for you to see. Put that there. I put my drum up here so you can see, and I'm holding that up to the screen. You ready? So what we do when we're playing music, we have a count-in. So we're going to have a count-in now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can join in with your instrument if you've got your drum there. Or you can just watch and listen. Here's our count-in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know when I finish saying 4, or my friend finishes saying 4, or my friend finishes counting in his head or her head, that I have to stop that sound. Okay. What about if I don't want my continuous sound to go on that long? I'm going to only let it last for a count of 3. So I've written count 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to count myself into 3, and then we'll see how long our sound can go on. All right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. What about if I say that's still a bit long, and there's Mrs Hazelton on her drum. She's taking a bit too much time. Somebody else needs to have a go. Well, this time we'll just say we're only going to count 2 when we hold our sound on, when we do our sound. Are you ready? And I think it'd be interesting, wouldn't it, to use a different instrument. So let's use our spoons. This is when it gets a little bit tricky. And this time we're going to have a counting of 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. But now we've decided we just want a short sound. So we can try doing our spoons with this. So we could try going 1. Actually, we might also, because 1's actually a very short sound. So really, we are back to the small dot again. Let's find the small dot. Ready? And my spoons. 1. Okay. So that's one way of doing it, isn't it? Putting numbers on our pictures, on our symbols. Okay. And I wonder whether you know what musicians do. Does anybody know? Can anyone think what musicians in an orchestra or in Mr. Lister's band or other people do when they have to play music? Now, they use something that looks like this. Now, I say this is a piece called Tom Toms. If I hold that up to the screen, I've just covered the bottom part with yellow. And if you have a look, you've got some funny symbols and shapes on here. This curly shape at the front is called a treble clef. These numbers tell you what to count. And then we've got some symbols here, but I'm going to show you where my finger is. We've got some circles. In fact, that's an oval shape, isn't it? And another oval shape up here. Another oval shape with a stem on, like a flower. And 2 more shapes that are coloured in. Then another oval shape with a stem like a flower. And then a funny little thing that if we turn it over there, looks a bit like a bat. Okay. And these shapes here, that you can see here, are called notes. And they're what musicians use. They play their music often from something like this, which is called a score. And it's written on 5 lines like this. And they use these symbols. So we're going to just have a little look. So instead of us having our sound that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and us having to write our numbers over the top, we're going to actually have a look at what musicians use on their music. And they use something like this. Now that's a picture of a note, and that note is worth 4. Okay, 4 counts. I think you could see my thumb then. 4 counts, okay? And the best way of showing this, I think, is if I play my cymbal now, and you can see 4, and you can see how I'm making a sound for 4 counts. Okay, so hold that under my chin, and when I've counted to 4, I'm going to stop the sound I'm making on the cymbal, because that's the end of the sound. So I'm just going to hold that under my chin. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And I stop the sound with my finger. Okay. Here's another note. I'll put this one next to the first one I've shown you. So that's worth 4 counts. Here's another one. Now this one looks similar, but it has a stem and it has a dot after it. And this one here, I'll move that along there. This one here, we hold on for 3 counts, okay? Now I'm going to use my symbols again. Okay, so I'm going to hold that under my chin. And this time I'm going to play my symbols for 3 counts. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay. Here's another note. I'll put this note next to the last one and you can have a look and you can see they look very similar. The difference is the one that's worth 3 counts has a dot after it. The one that's worth 2 counts has no dot. This one's worth 2 counts. Now this is going to be quite tricky on the symbols because the symbols sustain, they carry on for a long time. I'm going to hold that under my chin. 2. Okay. Okay, now, which note do you think we need now? We need a note that's worth 1 count. Let's have a look and let's see if we can find the one that's worth 1 count. Hope it's not gone walkabout. Let's have a look. 2, 3, 4. Let's just see. Here we are. The one that's worth 1 count is coloured in like this. Okay, so let's try. I'm going to use my symbol again. I'm going to count myself into 1 and then I'm going to have to play it very carefully because I can only hold it on for 1 count. You ready? 1. Okay, did you hear that? That was just worth 1 count. Okay, so if we go back, we'll do like a countdown. We've got this one, we hold it on for 4 counts. This one for 3 counts. This one for 2 counts. And this one for 1 count. Now, the little piece of paper I showed you before, here it is again. What I did with my paper is I folded it and I folded it again, folded it in half, then I folded it again, then I folded it again, and I ended up all together with 8 little boxes really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on the one side I've got my dots for my short sound, my long line for my long sound, and then my wavy long line for the sound that goes ch-ch-ch, where you kind of have to, it's almost like lots of little sounds stuck together, but you're still counting it as like a long sound. And then on the back I've put the note that I hold on for 4, the note I hold on for 3, the note I hold on for 2, the note I hold on for 1 count. So what you can do, I'm just going to hold that up to the screen now. You can use the sheet I've attached to this lesson if you want to. And you can put in there, if you haven't done it already, your long sound, your short sound, and your undulating long sound, the one that goes like that. And then you can also put in these notes too. Have a go at writing these notes. I'll hold that up to the screen for you for a few minutes. And you can see, and next to these, to make it a bit easier, you can write 4, 3, 2, and 1. In fact, I'm going to write them on now. Just to remind you, I'll write them in the bottom right hand corner of the box. So that one's worth 4 counts. This one here is worth 3 counts. This one here is worth 2 counts. And this one here is worth 1 count. Okay, so have a little play around. If you've got a cereal packet and everyone's eaten the cereal in it, what you can do, because this is a sheet of A4 paper, what you can do when you've put on your symbols, either on here or on the worksheet, ask a grown-up for some glue, stick a little bit of glue on there, cut out your side of the cereal packet and stick it on. And then you can cut out these. You'll have a few little cards. You can cut these out and play the sound game with somebody. Okay. What you can do is with lots of your little cards, I've got one here. Okay. This is one that I laminated a while ago, but they don't have to be laminated. That will take a long time to laminate them. They don't have to be laminated like we do at school. You can just use them as little cards. You cut out your little cards and then you put your little cards face down in the middle of the table. So if I put my hand like that. Now, if they've got cereal packet on the back, this one hasn't. If they've got cereal packet card on the back, no one's going to know which note is on it. And no one's going to know what sound is on it, which is quite handy. And you can put them in the middle of the table and then take it in turns to pick a card and use your pots and your tubs. Here's my sweetie tub. Anything, a margarine tub will do, a tin will do, something like a tub of coffee or a tub of hot chocolate that you haven't used. Use your tubs and take it in turns to go around the table or with your sister or brother to play the sound, and they've got to guess which one it is. Okay. Lovely to do this video for you today, Year 2. Have lots of fun making sounds, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.